Okay, so let's talk about return values. So once the function hits this return statement, there are a couple of things take place. The first is the function is going to what? The return statement is going to terminate the function immediately. The number 2 is what? Passes a return value back to the calling functions. So basically passing the result, right? That value to the calling function. Like in our previous example, the calling function is a main, right? So for example, this square functions return the result back to the main function. Number 3, as I already showed you, remove all the local variables from the memory used in the functions. So it's going to delete all the local variables. So that's what happens in the functions hit this return statement. As you can see, you can use multiple return statements as you can show in this function. Let's say this is a function that calculates the area of the square, right? And so if the calling functions provide a 0, a passing 0 to the side, or the negative number, or for example negative number, then if the side, right, is less than a 0, then it's going to return 0, because you cannot really calculate the area, right, if the side is 0 or negative. Or maybe you should say 0 or negative. Or then if the side is a positive number, which is this case, then it's simply what? The side multiplied by side, right? That's the area of the square. So simply this function is going to return this area, right? So as you can see, let's look at this slide. As you can see, you are within, let's say within the function, right? Within the square function, square area functions, you can use, let's say, as many as return statement you want, right? In this case, they use 2 return statements. But you have to know that only one return statement will be ever executed. Even though we have a multiple return statement, only one of them will execute. I mean, this is obvious, right? Because once the functions hit a return statement, that's the end of the function. That will terminate the functions, right? So even though you have many return statements, only one return statement will be ever executed. Okay? And another thing, another slide will show you can really design a function in such a way that instead of having multiple return statements, right? Instead of having multiple return statements, you can design a function in a way that you can only use one return statement. Okay? So let's say I'm going to change, right, the design of these functions so that we're going to only use only one return statement. So return, right, half. So this is a function, right, square area. So basically you introduce a new variable called volume. So when the side is less than or equal to 0, the volume is a 0. Well, actually I should say area, not the volume, but I should say area, not the volume. It's 0, right? And then else your area is what? Side times side, right? And then you simply return this volume of the area. So this way you can only use what? You can only use one statement, only one return statement. Personally, I like, if someone asks me to compare the method A or method B. I think both are fine, but personally I prefer B to A because this is like much more readable. And I know that I can only I know only that I have one return statement, right? So maybe this is like much less error prone, right? So I prefer this B method better than A. So I prefer B to A, definitely. But it's really up to you, okay? So let me just end my lecture here.